Here we go. So I'm now recording, and we're going to jump right into it. So we're going to be talking a little quick introductory session on using Khan Academy. This is a website that's been around for quite a while. Good morning, Julie. I used to use it as a teacher. This is my 4th year as a coach with Program and Learning. My name is Chris Eltz, by the way. I'm a coach with Program and Learning on the math team. Previous to this, though, I was a grade 7-8 teacher at Fisher Park Summit Alternative School for a few years, teaching mathematics. Khan Academy has been a website for quite a while now. I've used it as a teacher, but it is very different from 4 years ago, and it does change quite a bit. So what I would like to do is just give you a brief introduction of how to log into Khan Academy, how to create a class, how to populate that class with students, and some of the things that a teacher could do with Khan Academy. There's a whole bunch of content on this website, so it can be daunting, but we want to find some ways that might make it useful to OCDSB educators and students. Okay, so I am going to change over to screen sharing, and I'm going to walk us through how to log in to Khan Academy. Okay, so I am going to share this screen. Welcome, everyone. Once again, if you do have any questions, please feel free to use that chat box to share any questions or thoughts or thinking or anything like that. Okay. So right off the bat, I want to make it clear that Khan Academy is not an Ontario resource. Okay, so it is an American resource, so most of the content you're going to see is aligned to the Common Core curriculum in the United States. So what you click on maybe in grade 6 on Khan Academy, it does not line up well with necessarily with the Ontario curriculum. All right, so we have to be we have to spend a little bit more attention to paying attention to looking at the type of work we're going to be asking our students to do, the content of the math that we are going to be providing for them, okay? So, I mean, the math is good, the math is there, and there are Ontario expectations that we can address with content from Khan Academy. We just have to, we just realize that there's an extra layer for Ontario educator on using this website, okay? So I just wanted to make sure everyone's aware of that. So I believe I'm sharing my screen now, and I am going to log in. Now, I've already created an account with Khan Academy, but if I didn't have one, if I click on sign up, you'll notice straight away that it's asking me what role I have. So am I a learner? Am I a teacher or a parent? This is a website that parents can access as well. I'm a teacher, so I'm going to click on teacher. And Khan Academy does play well with Google, so I can click on continue with Google, and it is going to recognize my OCDSB credentials if I'm already logged in. So I'm logged into GEM, my GEM account. I don't need to create a username and a password to get onto Khan Academy. I can click continue with Google, and it will recognize my login information. Okay, so I don't have to remember new passwords and things like that. I already have an account, so I'm going to click on login. And I'm going to click on continue with Google. For the first time, you may ask for permission to connect your accounts. That permission has to be given if you're going to be following this way. So here's the teacher dashboard. All right, I hope everyone can see this right now. Please let me know if you're not seeing what I'm seeing in the chat box. But I'm seeing a teacher dashboard with one class that I've already created. All right, so it recognizes my name. If I wanted to, I could add my own school. But a couple of things I want to be aware of right now on the teacher dashboard. First of all, that I do have the ability to add multiple classes. So if I am, let's say, an ETFI math teacher and I teach mathematics to more than one class, I can set up its own, each class could have its own Khan Academy as class as well, okay? So again, this is very cursory and introductory right now. We're going to start by adding a new class. And lucky for us, we have an add a new class button or link right over here. So if I click on that, it's going to ask for some information. So for example, it wants to know what my class is called. So I don't know, I might do something like, I'll call this Mr. Hiltz's, I think that class was a grade 7 class. So maybe I'll call this one a grade 8 class. Okay, now you'll also notice that I do have an option to import data and a class roster straight from Google Classroom. So if I am using Google Classroom as an educator in the OCDSB and I have students in that classroom, like I said before, Khan Academy plays well with Google. So if I give permission, I don't have to, give permission to Khan Academy to access my Google Classroom account, it could pull that information straight over for me. So that's a little bit of less work for me. But right now, I'm just going to create my own class. So I'm going to call it what I want to call it. Makes sense to me and my students. And I click on the next button. And here it's going to ask me for what type of class this is. Okay, now we're going to come back to this information in a bit, but as I said, this is not aligned to the Ontario curriculum. Interestingly, apart from the grade 7, which is interesting to me, I don't know why it's grade 7. I don't know who decided that, regardless. But I'm going to skip this step for now. We're going to come back to this in a bit. Okay, so I'm just going to click on skip. And now it's asking me, how would I like to add students to this class? All right, now again, I could connect it to Google Classroom. I have that option. Quick and simple. I can generate a class link, so a unique code that I can share with students in an email so that students can add themselves to my class. Or if I had younger students or maybe students who are not quite as used to technology, I can create my own students, and Khan Academy would generate usernames and passwords that I could then share with my students as well. Okay, so if I wanted to, let's just click on that and see what it looks like. So literally I'm seeing this. So for example, I don't know, maybe I'll just use that name. All right, so there I've created a user, a name, so that's my student's name. It is automatically created the student's username, so that's a specific username to that student, and I could add as many students as I want to this. If I click next, I also see that it gives me a password for that student. Okay, so here, this is a case where maybe I put this in an email to the student or the student's parents, or if I'm making telephone calls to families, this might be a quick phone call saying, by the way, I've created an account for you on Khan Academy. Here's your username and your password. You will find when you log in with this, you'll be attached to my classroom already. Okay, and I could change this password to make it easier or whatever if I wanted to. Okay. Clicking that blue button for creating accounts would take all of those students I added, create accounts for everyone. So again, depending on your students, I'm not going to do that right now. Depending on your students and their age, maybe their ability and their access to technology, we might either create accounts for them or maybe just share a class code. Okay, so really quickly, creating this class, I can have more than one, and populating that class with students, I have options, okay? Once again, any questions, please feel free to ask in that chat window. I have my eye on that as well, okay? So once I have a class and I have students in that class, the question is, okay, well, what am I supposed to do on Khan Academy? All right, so I'll walk you through a bit of that right now. So Khan Academy is known for that math content that it has, right? So the majority of math content can be split into two different categories. One category are videos, where basically it's a YouTube video where the creator of Khan Academy, Salman Khan, is explaining a concept or a procedure in mathematics. All right, you got a black screen and you basically see his writing on this screen. He's walking you through how to do a task in mathematics. Okay, and there are literally dozens and dozens and dozens of these videos going from early mathematics, right, all the way up to like calculus level grade 12 stuff. All right, there's tons of stuff. I see a question from Martin. I'm going to try to answer that in a second. The other side of the content is activities. All right, so every video that is on Khan Academy, there's also an activity that goes along with it. All right, and the activity is usually just multiple choice questions or fill in the blank style questions where a kid would be asked a question online on the screen. The kid would answer the question either by picking the right answer or typing in a number or something like that, clicking submit and getting instant feedback, either they got it right or a tip for an ability to watch a video or get some extra help. Okay, so I see a question. Martin's asking, try to create accounts with Google Classroom. It didn't work, perhaps because I also have my personal Gmail open at the same time. So I tried giving a link, but finding some students creating unrecognizable usernames. Okay, so I'm trying to sort that out. Wishing I had the accounts through Google Classroom. Okay, so thank you very much, Martin. Sounds like, yeah, so when students are creating their own accounts, it's kind of Wild West in terms of what they choose their names to be, right? So either, again, this depends on the students, some clear instruction from teachers to students and parents, please use your real name so I know who is who, or either a teacher creating accounts or using a Google Classroom account. All right, now there are some information that we can get from Khan Academy in terms of student accounts. We may even be able to change usernames as a teacher. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into that too much, okay? Like I said, I haven't used this in a couple of years, and the website is very different from what I remember. So I'm learning a lot as we go. Thank you for bringing that up, Martin. Okay, so I am going to bring you into my grade 7 example class with some fake students in there. You can see that I have 4 students in that class. So if I click on here, we'll see my 4 students here. I hope we're in the same place here. Please let me know if we're not seeing what it says student roster at the top. And I see along the side here all of the different tools I have access to as a Khan Academy teacher. Just for those who are interested, I can always go back to Khan Academy, the teacher dashboard, by clicking on this link here, okay? Okay, so when I'm on this page, I have a lot of different information I can see, all right? So what I'm most concerned with right now, probably what you're gonna be looking at more than anything right now, are assignments, all right? The ability to assign content from this website for students to do, all right? So I'm gonna walk you through that right now, okay? So the first thing I did, and maybe I should show this first. Actually, I'm gonna go back to my grade 8 class. So again, no students in here right now, but that's okay. I am going to, under settings, remember before when I was asking what kind of class this is, we skipped it. I'm gonna add a course to access content easily now, okay? So under settings in a classroom, whether there's students in it or not, you'll notice I have a class code that I can make anything I want when I send it to students. I can change the name of this class if I wanted to, but I want to add some content. I want to add some, basically a general idea of what this course is going to be. So if I click on this, I brought back to this, this page here where I'm asked to select some content area that this course is going to be about, okay? Now again, this is where I have to put my Ontario educator hat on, and I realize that if I call this a grade 8 class, if I just click on grade 8, that's going to be Common Core for the United States grade 8, not necessarily Ontario. Some stuff will be appropriate for my students and my learners, but not everything. I can't just say it's grade 8. What I want to do is I can pick several things at once. So to cover my bases, I'm going to pick, let's say down to grade 4. I'm going to pick these 4 courses from Khan Academy, okay? I can add more later. I can take some back if I wanted to, but this is going to give me a lot of information, a lot of content that I can use to differentiate for my students, but also make sure that the stuff I'm sending them is going to be appropriate for their level in Ontario, the curriculum, as well as their needs. So I'm going to be covering more. I'm going to pick more than I probably would use. But if I click save, now I can see here that I'm attached to this stuff, which I can add more to again or change if I wanted to by clicking that button there. Okay? So if I go back to this class, I want to start adding some content for my students to do. All right? And I would do that by clicking on assignments. So I have these 2 things here. I'm going to click on assign, and now all of a sudden I'll notice that I have content that I can pick from now. It starts with grade 8, but I have access to all of these other things as well. Okay, so if I wanted to find something that Khan Academy is talking about 5th grade content, that's what I would do. If I wanted to go maybe 6th grade, if I know some students may be modified or some students need a bit more help with something that wouldn't necessarily be at grade level. I have access to all of these different things. All right, so I can see that there are a few different units I have access to. Right, so let's say I want to work on something about numbers and operations. So something from our number sense and numeration strand. So if I click on this little arrow, it's going to give me all of the different lessons that I have access to under grade 8 mathematics. Okay, and you can notice straight away that they actually have quizzes and things like that here. But let's talk about, well, square roots. No, let's not do square roots. Let's do yeah, let's do square roots. Why not? So again, clicking on that down arrow, you'll notice straight away that there's a lot of content on here that doesn't align with the grade 8 curriculum for those grade 8 teachers in the room. But you notice that when I click on that down arrow, now all of a sudden I have quite a bit of content that I can assign students. And again, they're split into a couple of different areas. You'll notice all of the things with the little triangle with the play button there. That's a video. So I can assign videos for students to watch. This is an article, or basically just some reading that a student could do. I could assign that reading to the students. And then anything with that pencil icon is an assignment activity for them to do. All right. So let's just say I'm interested in these 3. So I'm going to click on these 3, and I'm assigning them to students, right? So I want to assign it to my class. Now, again, my class doesn't have any students in it, but you would see the students pop up here if I did. Now I have a couple of options when assigning. So I can set a different set of questions for each student for that exercise bit, or I can say it's the same questions in the same order for all my students. As a teacher, that might make a difference for me. All right, there might be reasons I choose one over the other. All right, but basically how this works is there's a set of, let's say, 25 questions that it just pulls from randomly. All right, so there's only a certain number of questions kids will be exposed to, but this option is a good one to have. I can choose the class I want to give it to. I can give it to all the students in the class. I can give it to specific students in the class. Those students would list here. And I also have the ability to choose a due date. So when would I like this information by? I want my students to work on this week. I might say, you know what, get it done by Thursday, guys. All right, Thursday. This says midnight or just before midnight. That's when I want this finished. Okay. So I have an option to save and assign for a later date, so I can kind of plan this out. Maybe if I'm doing this like with next week in thinking, or I can assign it straight away. Obviously, it's not letting me assign it because I have no students to assign it for, but I would be able to click on that button to assign it to my students. Okay, but I'm going to say let's give this to my grade 7 class where I do have some students in there. All right, those 3, so the video, the article, and the exercise, I'm assigning to this class right now. So I can see here that I can assign it to all of my students, or maybe I want to differentiate and focus on 1 or 2 students in this class. But I'm going to assign it to all 4. And I'm going to make the due date April 9th, and I'm going to click assign. Done. Okay, so that content now is being pushed to the students' accounts. So when they log in, they're going to see a notification. Your teacher has assigned some work for you to do. All right, there's a video, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. Okay, so I am going to go back to my other class with the students. And let me see here. Here we are. So here are my students in this class. If I click on assign, I can see right. I can see here are the new assignments that I just sent, right? So there's that video, Intro to Square Roots. I assigned it today. It's due on Thursday. 0 out of 4 students have done it. right? But as they work on this stuff, I will get, this is updated every 15 seconds, I think. So as students work on this stuff, I'm going to get that information. Okay, Kate's asking, will they see the assignment in Google Classroom, or do they need to go to Khan Academy website to see the assignment? Fantastic question. I don't know. The last time I was in teaching in the classroom, I wasn't using Khan Academy, and at that time, Khan Academy did not connect to Google Classroom. So that's a great question, Kate. Hopefully I'll be able to find an answer soon. And Justin's saying he doesn't think it shows up in Classroom. I don't think it does either, but I know that Google Classroom is a great way to communicate to students. So what I might do as a teacher is say something like, an assignment has been created on Khan Academy. Here's the link. Please use this link to log into Khan Academy and work on your assignments there. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to do some digging, Kate, and hopefully I'm going to be able to find an answer. And when I do, I'll flip that answer to you. Okay. I don't think I can do it in 7 minutes though, which is all the time we have left. Okay. So one other thing I want to show you. What does this mean for the teacher, right? Assigned work. I know students can do the work, but what do I see as that teacher? Okay. So I'm going to bring your attention to this. Okay, Richard's saying, yeah, so thanks, Richard. Taught the kids how to log into Khan Academy to access the work that way. I think that's probably the best way to do it, because they're going to access the full, all the tools and things that are made for the students to use. That's what I'd be doing as well. Anyway, you can look down here. These last four assignments that I've given to my students, I can see 3 videos and an exercise here. I've had some students actually do some of this work. Okay, so I can see that 1 out of my 4 students watched that video, 2 out of 4 students watched this video, and all 4 students worked on that assignment. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take a look at a report that was generated for me based on that assignment. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to click on scores. Now, if I click on scores, I'm going to get my class list here and all the different assignments that I have access to. All right. So you can see here are some of those videos. Good old Stu. Stu watched all 3 of these videos. I can see Al. He only watched that video. But here's the exercise that I assigned, right? So the exercise was based on some of the information from these 3 videos. We're adding decimals. And I can see here the percentages of correct answers from those students. Okay, so I can see that Al got 100% on those questions. He got all of them right. Stu got 86%. Poor Cal though, Cal only got, didn't look like he got 0, he didn't get anything right. So I might be a bit interested in some of this information, right? So if I click on one of these, I'm gonna be brought to a report. And in this report, I see a lot of information. So what I'm seeing here is all the different questions that, in this case, it's Al got all these different questions right. I see what the question is. This was the first question that was asked him, 2.888 plus 42. What's the answer to that? And I can see that Al got the right answer. If I wanted to switch to another student, I can go here. And I can see that for this question here, again, this student didn't get anything right. But this was the question that was asked that student. This is what that student answered. Okay, and if I wanted to, I could actually see what the actual answer would be. But this gives me information, right? If I take a look at his responses, this student's responses to these questions, I might see the mistake that he is doing. And that might tailor some information for me in helping that student. Okay, if I wanted more broad information, I could say, show me everything. So again, all 4 students did this exercise, and Khan Academy is going to organize the questions in terms of which questions seem to be most problematic to students. Okay, so I can see here what they're calling question 7, which is 37.279 plus 5.4. 1 student got that wrong, 3 of them got it right on their last attempt. Okay, so again, I can see that 3 students got that correct answer. One of the students, who was Cal, got that answer instead. I might find that there are other students making the same mistake if I had a larger class, and that might mean, okay, so I have to have a conversation with these 4 students who all seem to be doing the same thing when answering these questions. You'll also notice that students can redo tests or redo assignments, exercises. When you click submit and you get even one answer wrong, even if you self-corrected, you can do that again, and it'll give you new sets of questions to try. But I can, under this report, I can check out the first attempt as well. Okay, so the first versus the last attempt that these students took at these questions. Okay, now last thing I want you to see in 2 minutes. Let's see if I can do this. I am going to show you what a student might see. No, I don't have time. I'm sorry. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that in time. All right, Richard is asking, when I assign something, are the students notified by an email generated in Khan Academy? Great question. Again, I don't know. The fake students, you know what? I'm just going to log in and see how quickly I can do this. I just generated fake accounts. I didn't use gem accounts, so I'm not sure if they actually get I'm not sure if they get an email or not, but what you do get, I'll show you in a second. Boop, boop, boop. All right, so let me share this screen. Oh. Okay, you should be seeing a student homepage now. So here's Stu's page. He just logged in. Again, I don't have Stu's Gmail account, so I can't tell if he got an inbox alert. But what you do see up at the top, as soon as you log in, that there are notifications, right? Kind of like on Facebook or something like that, I'm guessing. You can see here that the first notification you see, remember I just added those square root assignments. It says here that you have 3 new assignments for Mr. Hiltz's grade 7 class. If I click on that, it's going to bring me to my assignments, and I can see all of these assignments that Stu's teacher, myself, has given to Stu, right? So we can see here are the decimal questions. He's watched those videos. He got 86% on that exercise, which I can try again if I wanted to at any point. But here are my new assignments. So again, some of the conversation I would have with my students, depending on their age, is when you log in, keep an eye out for those notifications. And again, on the student's homepage, if they click on assignments, they're going to be shown all the different assignments given to them by their teacher, which class it's coming from, the due date the teacher is expecting it by, as well as whether or not they've done it. Okay. Now, last week, someone asked the question, do these disappear after that due date? I don't believe they do. I think they stay there until the teacher removes that assignment. Okay. It's 11 o'clock. I'm going to stick around a little longer. Feel free I'm going to read a couple more questions here. Feel free to stick around if you need to get out and grab yourself something to eat or go spend some time outside with family or reach out to your students. Feel free to do that. Don't hesitate to email me, christopher.hiltz@ocdsb.ca, if the need arises. Thank you very much for your time. I hope this was useful. Like I said before, there are tons more to do with Khan Academy than what I was able to give you in half an hour. If you have the time, I encourage you to play around with it to see what you can get out of it, because it might be useful to you and your students. Thanks very much. Good luck with this remote teaching thing. Phase 2 starts today. So yeah, fingers crossed, and stay healthy, everyone. Thank you very much. I'm just going to answer a couple more questions for the people who are still here. Again, this is being recorded so we can watch later, right? So Julie's asking, if we don't assign work, can they just work on various things on Khan Academy, or when they're done their assignments? Absolutely. Students, there's tons of stuff on here, right? For those keeners who want to maybe reach ahead, they can find some tougher math for them to do on their own. There's also other subject areas. So there's stuff on its US history, but there's a little bit of history. There's some ancient history stuff. And actually, there's a lot of coding. There's actually some pretty great courses for everything from learning some different programming languages to computer animation as well. Same sort of idea. I can watch a video and it'll walk me through some coding stuff. So I know that a lot of students enjoy that aspect of this as well. And again, a teacher can assign that if you wanted to, right? Okay, notified by email, not sure about work, they need to log in first. Okay, so again, that's going to the question of, do students get updates in Google Classroom when teachers assign work on Khan Academy? We're not sure. I've never looked at this as a teacher with a Google Classroom class with students. My suggestion, I think other people are saying as well, what the best way to do this is use Google Classroom to tell students when Khan Academy assignments have been created. Right, so I would put a post on Google Classroom saying, guys, please log into your Khan Academy website. I've assigned some stuff, a couple of videos for you to watch. All right, and then we're gonna have a conversation about it tomorrow or something like that. Okay, I still see a few people here, so I mean, please feel free to post any questions or anything like that if you'd like. I'm gonna stop presenting. And maybe I'll just stop recording now too. So thank you very much, everyone.